news. Now, Executive Suites with WPRI.com reporter Ted Nesi.
The iconic symbols of summer in Rhode Island. The beach, the paw socks, and of course, Dell's lemonade. Rooted in a recipe developed in Italy in the 1800s, the Dell's name now graces franchises around the world, but its headquarters is still in Cranston. How does the company keep up with changing consumer tastes, and what are the lessons from its longevity? This week on Executive Suite, Executive Vice President of Dell's Lemonade, Joseph Padula. Welcome to Executive Suite. I'm Ted Nesi. Special holiday edition here for the 4th of July. I have Joe Padula here from Dell's Lemonade to talk about a famous Rhode Island company. Joe, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Ted.
And last night I was at the fireworks in Providence, and a reminder to me again of how quintessentially Rhode Island this is. Half the people out at India Point Park in Providence had a Dell's Cup. They had gone up to the trucks. Do you have like a biggest sales day of the year? Would that be the 4th of July or the hottest day? Do you see that kind of spike?
It's weather-driven. It's a weather product. The 4th of July is a good day for us. We do the Bristol Parade. We have the 4th of July, the fireworks, and then we also have fireworks in Narragansett, Wakefield, and Chepachet, Rhode Island, different parts of the state. With the fireworks, so we do a lot of stuff there. The busiest day is a weather day. When it's hot, we do a tremendous amount of business.
Do you have to sort of calibrate how many trucks go out? If it's the hotter it is, the more you send, that kind of thing. You're watching the weather like that.
Basically, we're a franchise company,
Yep.
and all of our franchises have either trucks, carts, stores, or some of all of everything. And they put everything out every day because the summer is the summer. We need to make as much money as we can. It's a short enough season as it is, so we go out there and do what we can every day with everything we have out.
And tell me about the year for it. When does the year really rev up? When you start? I guess if you get a heat wave in March, do you go out then even if it's early?
Open. We could be open as early as March if we do get a heat wave. If they tell us that the weatherman will say it's going to be 73 degrees, we'll open. Yeah. Officially we're open in April, and we close in October.
And what do you do in those months between October and April? What are you doing then?
We prepare and plan for next season and look to open up new franchises in different parts of the country and hope to get lucky and do something like that.
So I saw on your website, Dell's, you listed 13 states where you can get a Dell's franchise right now. I saw some of them, Florida, Utah, Nevada, and on Twitter, actually, someone told me he's always wondered how a Dell's ended up in Venice, California, where he'd seen it. How does it happen? How do you find where you franchise?
We actually, what happens is people will call in or send in to us some type of information or a phone call looking to do something in the state that they live in. And probably about 95% of the people that we deal with are ex-Rhode Islanders who were in Rhode Island at some point. Remember, the Dells have moved to a different place. This is where the gentleman from Venice Beach, he was in Rhode Island, and he opened out there. He's been there now about 3 years, and he's doing relatively well.
Yeah.
He is doing good, and we have another gentleman in Miami Beach doing very well.
So they have to do more introduction of what Dell's is, right?
They do. They definitely have to do a lot of more marketing and a lot of more product giveaway and getting the product to people to let them know what Dell's really is. And that's why we do a lot of pushcart type operations in our out-of-state type situations, because a storefront is nice, but it doesn't bring people in, so you need to bring product to the people.
Go to where they are,
where they are. Get them to try the Dells. Once they try it, they're hooked, and we got them.
No problem after that. No. It mentioned there a worldwide presence. What are we going with there? Is it some of these getting sent off there, or do you have franchises
We
elsewhere?
do send a lot of product to different parts of the country.
Yeah.
We've got stuff that's going out to the servicemen and all that, and in the military, and so they can have the Dells there also. So we do a lot of stuff out of state and out of the country.
Now, you mentioned the product. Let's talk about the product here. First, if you meet someone who doesn't know Dells, how do you describe it? I was talking about this with my friends last night. We said, well, it's not exactly Slurpee, but it's not exactly Italian Ice. It's Dells. It's somewhere in the middle. How do you describe it?
It's a soft frozen lemonade is what we like to call it, and it's a slush product. But we really don't like the word slush, so we like to call it a soft frozen lemonade. And we believe that what this should be done with is when you drink Adele's, you should hold it in your hand and let the heat from your hand melt the product a little bit, and then you drink it as a drink. A lot of people use a straw or a spoon. Well, a straw
But not
is
real Rhode Island.
well, you know, I got to say we still have Rhode Islanders that like straws, okay? But the problem with the straw is when you use that, you suck all the juice out. Now you're left with the slush pot that has to wait to melt. So the best way is to just squeeze the cup a little bit and then just
And you fold over and you take a sip.
squeeze and then take a sip.
So it's the heat from your hand that's really that gets it to the consistency.
Helps to melt the product. Yes, yes.
And how many lemons do you go through a year? How many gallons do you make a year?
Oh God, we probably use 1 million or so lemons that we actually cut and wash first, sanitize, make sure the skin is all clean, and then we cut them, juice them, bag them, and put them into freezers right away.
Take us through the manufacturing process. Actually, I believe it's all still made in Cranston. Is that
yes.
right?
Well, 90% is still made in. Yeah.
So what's the process? What's the beginning to end where it ends up in the truck to get Del's lemonade?
First of all, like I said, we take our lemons and we cut them, and then the juice we mix in a 500-gallon vat, and then we make our concentrate with water, sugar, and lemon that we put into that, and then we package it in plastic gallon bottles, and then that is put into refrigeration, and then our franchisees will pick up their products, come to our store in Cranston, pick up the product and take it to their stores, and then they will take, and with the batch machines that they have in their buildings, just like our Oaklawn Avenue location, the headquarters has, they have filter system for the water, so that the water is filtered before it goes into the machine, so that the product is taken in that machine is tastes just as good in Cranston as it will in Johnston or Warwick or anywhere that Del's
no matter where
sold,
the water came
wherever
from.
the water. So the filter system is important, and then the product is poured into a machine with the amount
when
of
we say
water.
the product, we mean the liquid version of
the
it.
liquid concentrate is poured into the machine with the filtered water. The machine is turned on, and in about anywhere between 8 to 12, 15 minutes, you'll have a frozen product.
Now, you have other flavors, too. I was looking on the website, even though I'm a classic lemon guy myself, but I saw listed watermelon, cherry, peach mango, blueberry, light lemon, grapefruit, and pomegranate. Is
Yes.
that all of them?
Yes.
I read you once tried carrot, cantaloupe, honeydew. Those didn't come out of the test phase.
They're not out as of yet, no. There are so many products that we do experiment with and try to do things with, and they taste great. But the bottom line is, how many can you sell, and how much can you sell of it? The products that we have out right now are the products that we feel that sell and do a very good job out there.
I assume the classic lemonade is the #1 seller.
Classic is #1. Watermelon is #2. Blueberry and grapefruit are right in there, and 3 and 4. And then we have the the cherry product, which is another great product also, and pomegranate.
And you mentioned to me coming in that you have a new product coming out now. So what is it? And explain it.
Yes, our new product right now comes in a foil package that our franchisees use to put into their machine. We will be coming out with in a smaller take-home type version that will be able to use it at home. This new product is for the person, a diabetic or a person who is watching sugar intake. This is a product that they can drink now and have and not have to worry. It's made with a sweetener, all natural sweetener. There's no sugar. So this is for a diabetic type person that can't have sugar, that wants Del's and finally can have Del's. This is probably the first product in the country that's been done so far. We have an R&D and food and beverage gentleman by the name of Dimitri Kazantis.
Here in Rhode Island?
In Rhode Island, it works for us full-time. Who's developed this product last year and got it off the floor this year, and we just started about a month now with this product out. And in about another week or so, we will also be coming out with a watermelon flavor also.
Oh, okay, so the watermelon's not out yet. That's coming.
That is coming in about a week.
How do you decide? What's the R&D process? Does he just sort of have a lab of Del's and he's trying different concoctions?
He has a lab, and he has a couple of assistants that help him, and they try different things, and then they come around and they chase us around the building and let us be the guinea pigs to taste all these things and see what we think and how we think that, in the flavor.
Is it internal suggestions? Is it people at the stand saying, "Try? What about a watermelon?"
It's internal, and it's also customers that will say to us, "Gee, couldn't you have a watermelon flavor?" Or for an example, which we do, but things like that the customers do ask for, and then we will try and do what we can to see how it comes. Sometimes things work out well, and also you need to make sure that you can get the right ingredients and everything that you do need for making the different products.
All right, we have to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the history of Dell's Lemonade. Some of it you might not know. Stick with us. You're watching Executive Suite. Welcome back to Executive Suite. Our guest this week is Joe Padula. He's Senior Vice President of Dell's Lemonade, which needs no introduction. Joe, you were telling me before we started the show today, you have worked for Dell's for a long time. How did you get your start with the company?
I used to live across the street from the Oak Lawn Avenue store, and I started working for Dell's when I was basically, as a little summer thing, 7 years old, picking up papers in the parking lot. And to this day, I still pick up a few papers once in a while. I mean, it's no big deal. You know, someone's got to help out, do the things that need to get done. So that's what we do. And
your job, Executive Vice President, can mean a lot of different things. A lot of operational
aspects. A lot of hats. A lot of hats. A lot of, you know, in the storefront operations, in the office, in the plant, on the road. So, you know, doing different things to make things happen for the Dells to get it to go.
So we were talking before, Italy is where this comes from, Naples, Italy. Give us the history, the early history. It's fascinating, of the first Dells was made before the company.
Well, they say that they brought the snow in from the caves and all that and out of Italy in 1840s and brought it in, and great-grandfather DeLucia started this whole situation with the Dells, and it just came down into Rhode Island, where Angelo DeLucia, the owner who's passed away now, and it's a family-owned operation and a business, and the son now, Bruce, is the president and CEO of the company, and
still family-owned.
Still family-owned company, yes.
So great-grandfather DeLucia, as I understood the history, would take the ice and snow, put it into a grotto, a cave, during the winter time, and then once summer came around, he'd have it saved and he'd bring it out and mix it together.
Mix it in a machine, by hand with, you know, put the lemon juice and that whatever and mix it. Yes.
And this was in Naples, and it came over as the family. It was founded, I think, 1947 or 48.
1948.
1948, and the fellow passed away a few years ago was a World War II veteran.
Angelo DeLucia, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what do you think is the key to Dell's success? You know, what do you see? Is it just the familiarity? Is it the taste? Is it the work you put into keeping it in front of people's eyes?
It's a lot of things. I think it's a bunch of situations with, you know, working together as a team, everybody putting things and making it happen, and behind the scenes, what goes on to make a Dell's product and where it starts from and where it ends, and all of the people that are involved, franchisees, workers, employees. A key part of the business is employees. If you don't have employees, you got to do it all yourself, and you just can't do it all yourself.
About how many people do you have in Dell's, corporate Dell's?
We have probably about a good half dozen of full-timers, a little more, and then we have quite a few part-timers that are like youngsters for the summer that work in the stores and on the trucks and on the push carts.
Come in. A lot of people's first summer job with the Dells, I think. We were talking about franchises, and I'm curious, sort of, how do you manage the franchise relationship? First, they come to you, they apply often, is that fair?
They apply to us online or on phone or by letter, and then what we do is we either email or send out applications, and then once we receive applications back, we look at them and check them out and have conversations, and most of the time we sit down and talk. And sometimes it could be a year before something happens, or it may never happen. It just depends. Some people are just looking to talk and ask questions to find out about what it takes to open a Dell's franchise, and not only dollars and cents, but what else it takes as far as time and physical work and everything that's involved in a Dell's.
How do you keep, sort of protect the Dell's brand when you have lots of different people franchising it all over? How do you make sure Venice Beach Dell's is given the same Dell's experience you want?
One of the things we use is the water filter system and a meter to meter and the water that goes in, and also the filter system to make sure the quality of the water is the same. We don't have someone who's out every single day checking all over, but we do in Rhode Island have a lot of people who do things for us and go to places and check product and get phone calls and things like that. A lot of times when we get a phone call or a letter from a customer who was not satisfied with the product, we take that to heart and we will make the call to them to find out what happened or what their bad experience was. But a lot of times when people tell us that they've had a product that didn't taste just quite right, a lot of times what happens is when you go to a Del's, whether it be a store, a truck, or a push cart, you should always ask the person that's serving the product to please stir it first.
Please stir it first.
Yes,
okay.
Because what happens is the product is in a bin and the liquid settles to the bottom and the slush stays at the top. Now if it's been sitting like that for a while, the flavor is at the bottom. Now you need to stir it.
And it mix it all back together.
Mix it and then serve the product. 95% of the time, that's the reason why a Del's.
Maybe we have some of your workers watching. They'll just get a little,
I hope that they're
training.
all watching and listening, yes.
So you have other products as well. We have here on the table, you sell the mixes. People could buy it and make it at home. I've also seen Del's in a bottle as lemonade.
We have a bottled drink. It comes in lemon, it comes in diet, it comes in tangerine orange, and pink lemonade also. How big
a role do those tangential products, apart from the main lemonade in a cup at a stand, how big a role do those play in the business?
The bottled drinks is a part of our business. We don't bottle that ourselves. We have someone who does it, a company, and does it for us. And then we have a distributor who handles that for us. So he's doing that. That's a decent portion of our business. It is. But the frozen product is the big.
The core.
The core of our business, yes.
I was talking to a friend from Vermont, and he said to me, Del's reminds him a little of Ben & Jerry's, which was, a Vermont institution and then rapidly grew and became a national frame. I read an interview with Bruce DeLucia from a few years ago where he said, we've never had a huge expansion outside of Rhode Island for whatever reason. I mean, do you see a lot of opportunity, or do you ever talk inside Del's about, could we get, much bigger, have a bigger presence all over the country, or, are you content sort of where you are in the market now?
I don't think we're not content. We'd like to be in more places, but I think sometimes we'll get the phone call or the letter or, like I said, or the email from someone who wants to open up a Del's, and when they hear the dollars and cents that's involved in opening a Del's, this is a little bit of a shock sometimes to people, because the equipment we use is all stainless steel and all SF approved. The dollars and cents are there for the product, for the equipment that we have to get, so that the price tag is a little high. And it's unfortunate. The season also determines things too, because when you're going to spend $100,000 to get into a Del's franchise, you want to make sure you're going to be able to make some money. And in the New England states, it's a little tough,
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have you had an effect from the doldrums in Rhode Island that we've been economically last few years? Have you seen a dip in sales over the years, or is it sort of a recession-proof business at Del's?
I don't think we've had I think we've done well. We're a weather-driven business, so if the weather's there, we're doing business, and I think our pricing is at a point where people can afford to take a family to Del's and still be okay.
And have you had much cost pressure on the cost side with the ingredients and everything you put in?
Ingredients and things have gone up. Yes, they have. So we have had to adjust some things a little bit ourselves, but we still try to maintain and hold pricing so that people can afford. And we'll hope that we're going to work on more volume and make sales that way and get more money in that way.
We have to take another break. Coming up in the third segment on Executive Suite, we're going to talk about how Del's fits into the broader business picture in Rhode Island. Stick with us. Welcome back to Executive Suite. Our guest this week, Joseph Padula of Del's Lemonade. Joe, Del's has been in Rhode Island a long time. There's a constant debate in Rhode Island about whether Rhode Island is bad for business. Do you at Del's feel like Rhode Island's bad for business?
I don't think Rhode Island is a bad state for business. Could it be a better state for business? I think it probably could. There's a lot of
what do you run into that makes you think that?
I think taxes are a big issue in Rhode Island. And sometimes doing business in Rhode Island, sometimes it's difficult just to get to what you want to get to get things done.
How so? Regulations? Is it
regulations is something, and you know, the different rules and all that. I mean, there are certain things that are great. I mean, you know, we have health department situations that are good. You need health department to keep all businesses, restaurant type businesses, Del's, lemonade, ice cream in standards. So it is a good situation. But there are some things that could be, you know, the rules and regulations and cost of licenses and things like that. There could be a little bit of help on those things to help the small business person out.
How much does a company like Del's worry about taxes, regulations? How much do you even think about government, or are you just doing your own thing in a lot of ways?
You know, in the summertime, we don't think too much about anything but trying to make money. Then in the wintertime, you start thinking about all these things that have gone on. And, you know, we were very concerned when the governor wanted to put this new tax on with the food and beverage and restaurants and all that, because you know, every time they put another tax, it takes money out of our pocket, because you know, it's a difficult thing to make money as it is in certain situations, and you want, you know, you want people to be happy and have a good product and all that. And the restaurants, they have their issues with their help and losing help in business. And we want businesses to stay in Rhode Island, not close and move out of state because of different taxes and problems that happen.
Now, there was another thing that just passed. I was just curious if it had any impact on Del's, which is the minimum wage is going to go from $7.40 to $7.75 on January 1st. Does that matter to you? Will that have an impact at Del's?
No, well, you know, we have to do what we have to do, and that's it. You know, we have a bunch of good people that work for us, and we treat them right. I feel in that, you know, and we work together as a team. It's a big issue as a team to work together. You know, that's what happens.
We have 30 seconds, but you gave a tip as we were starting on how to get rid of a brain freeze. What's the secret from Del's?
The brain freeze that you get from a Del's is to take the tongue and stick it on the roof of your mouth and hold it there for a few seconds, and the brain freeze will go right away.
Will go right away. So you've learned something important, folks, this week on Executive Suite. That's all the time we have. I want to thank our guest, Joe Padula, Del's Lemonade, and I want to thank you for tuning in to MyRI TV. If you missed any of the show, you can catch it on our website, WPRI.com. I'm Ted Nisi. We hope you stay with us next week and every week on Executive Suite. Perfect, yeah.
Rhode Island Foundation, meeting the needs of the people of Rhode Island.